Welcome back to the 2001 San Francisco Giants sim in Out of the Park 24. If you missed the last episode, our goal here is to get Barry Bonds a ring. We have failed miserably. We didn't make the postseason. At the end of the last episode, we were just past the trade deadline. We were a few games behind the Dodgers in the NL West. We were in the wild card spot. So we failed, and we failed from a position where we were set up to succeed. That didn't make sense, that sentence, but you know what I meant. I'm not going to say we choked. I'm trying to avoid saying we choked because I don't think we choked, but we didn't get the job done when we were in a position to get the job done. So we won't get Barry Bonds a ring, but we're still going to, not this season, we're still going to see how it plays out for him after this season, because before I get into the what went wrong with the team and the team stats, I'll show you. And you can see he only hit 64 home runs, so he also didn't get the home run record in 2001 version of this game as he did in real life. But he's a free agent, and he doesn't want to negotiate because he doesn't get along with Dusty Baker. Now, part of me wants to fire Baker, bring Bonds back, and see what I can do. But I actually think it would be more fun to just quit the job of the Giants, let somebody else be their GM, and then see what happens with Bonds and see where he goes. Maybe he'll end up re-signing. I think I've seen it before in this game where guys will say that and they'll go to the market and they'll sign with you. Or maybe with the AI GM, they won't, Bonds won't have that issue with Baker. But I think that'll be interesting to see where Bonds ends up and where he where he ends up and how that team does next year. So I'm going to focus some of the video on that, but first we're going to get into the Giants and what went wrong. You can see we're quite good in the first half of the season. And when did we make that trade for Larry Walker? If you missed the last episode, I made a trade for Larry Walker that really didn't make a ton of sense from a team perspective. We traded for him on July 16th. So, you can take from that what you will with our record here through June and then our record for the rest of the season. I wouldn't have made that trade for Larry Walker, but if I was doing a long-term sim, but it was fun. But we gave up our number one starter, our closer, some other pieces, but we thought we'd have maybe the best offense in the league, and by some measures we were, but average we're only ninth, and OBP we were sixth. Runs we ended up seventh, which just seems a little low to me, based off of the fact that we were first in home runs, fourth in walks. Second in slugging, second in OPS. Our pitching was okay ERA wise, WAR wise quite bad, but oh well. Our actual performance was fine. Our defense was really good too. So I guess probably our pitching was pretty bad, and the WAR would suggest that our pitching was pretty bad, but the results and the fielding would suggest that our fielders really lifted our pitching up. But in the end, we only allowed the fourth. We were fourth in runs allowed, the fourth least runs allowed in the NL. There we go. Having trouble getting things out tonight. That's what she said. So yeah, I guess we could look at the lineups. Larry Walker is hurt. That didn't happen until late in the season on the 26th of September. This is October 1st. But you can see he wasn't quite as good for us, but he was still really good with that 148 WRC plus. Russ Davis was really good in a platoon role. Jeff Kent, I think he kind of trailed off some with the 134 WRC plus 5.8 WAR is obviously really good, but his July wasn't good, and his August and September, while good, were not nearly as good as April and May. So he was really hot, and then it was absurdly good here, and then was average, and then still like an all-star level player in the other months. But I think really where this falls apart is, Sean Dunston got too many at bats. Benito Santiago, obviously, I actually don't even want to say it falls apart, because I think this is a pretty solid offense by WRC plus. By WAR, I think it's a pretty solid offense. I mean, Barry Bonds 11.9 WAR, and he didn't make the postseason. The poor guy. So when you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hitters here who are league average or better, another guy by WAR, and another guy who is certainly way above league average according to WRC plus. It's tough to not reach the postseason with that, but we didn't. The pitching side of things, ERA, we only had 6 pitchers with an ERA better than league average, and then the rest of the staff, the final 9 guys here, all below league average. Armando Benitez did miss some time hurt for us, but he really wasn't that bad. He got hurt, and then he had 2 setbacks. He only pitched 12 2/3 after the trade, but he put a 2.84 ERA up and a 3.69 very nice FIP. So, yeah. The team just, we traded our number 1 starter, and we traded our closer, and we traded other pieces, and we got back a guy who performed like one of the better hitters in baseball, but it wasn't enough. One thing that was interesting is, if you remember in the last episode, Pedro Martinez was traded to the first place Florida Marlins. They finished 82-80. You can see they went 10-18 in August and 12-14 in September. Their pitching was really good. Their offense was terrible. You can see Pedro was just lights out for them. He made 12 starts. He had a 2.24 ERA, 2.92 FIP. He struck out a bunch of dudes. He put up 2.5 WAR in 12 starts. So Pedro was Pedro. He's also a free agent. This will be a fun offseason. So, yeah, they didn't have the hitting to get it done, though. You can see some really good hitters here, but then, 416 at-bats to a 62 WRC plus Tony Womack. Dave Berg, 269 at-bats. You could see these 4 guys here just getting way too much playing time for a team with playoff aspirations and a team that had Pedro Martinez. So the big trade deadline acquisition failed, just like Larry Walker failed in getting his team to the postseason. So I think that now we will see how this season ends, see who wins the World Series, and then I'll resign as GM of the Giants, and we'll see if Barry Bonds actually hits free agency and who he signs with. So we'll go ahead and jump ahead here. We're now up to free agency day. Free agents have filed. It's got to be the greatest free agent class in the history of Major League Baseball. It's going to be interesting to see where all these dudes sign. But before we get into that, just so you know, Cleveland beat Philly 4-2 in the World Series. So congrats to the fans of Cleveland. Congrats to the fans of Philly. Your teams represented your respective leagues, but Cleveland came out on top. Let's look at some awards too, because there were a couple fun things that I noticed when I was combing through this. I didn't go through all of it, so let's do this. Let's not do that. Let's see. Let's go to rookie. So Joel Pinheiro for the Mariners won Rookie of the Year and Cy Young. He put up 8.7 WAR and 13 RWAR. He threw 266 innings, had a record of 23-5, a 1.76 ERA in the 2001 season. In real life 2001, Joel Pinheiro was a rookie who threw 75 innings and pitched really well. He never had the type of, in the majors, he never had the type of season he had here, but he had a good season as a rookie. But then he got crushed by Cleveland in the postseason. Gave up 7 runs in 5 innings, walked 5. So didn't work out from there. But he's now got a Rookie of the Year and a Cy Young and an MVP, I think, right? Isn't that right? Yeah, he won Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, MVP. I don't know that sweep has ever been completed. I would doubt it has been. Some of you history buffs can let me know for sure, but I would be surprised if that's done. But then if there is somebody, and you guys tell me something, oh, right, of course. But a pitcher winning all 3 of those has to be a rare occurrence if it's happened. Not sure why the back screen took us back to there. We want to go back to the league news, and takes us down to May, of course. So Joel Pinheiro, congrats to him. Let's see. NL Rookie of the Year, Albert Pujols, 30 first place votes. He put up 9 WAR and a 195 WRC plus. In real life, pretty similar to how he came on the scene in 2001 at 20 years old with a 7.9 WAR and 172 WRC plus. Man, he was so good through like age 31 or so, and then was decent. But man, those numbers in St. Louis are just absurd that he put up. Sometimes I think maybe gets lost. Actually, that's not fair to say, but I don't think he gets lost. But he was around for so long after that peak that sometimes I can forget just how good he was in St. Louis. I mean, just unbelievably good. So he wins the NL Rookie of the Year. Pinheiro obviously got the Cy Young. He got all 30 first-place votes. The rest of the top 5 was Roy Halladay, Jamie Moyer, Roger Clemens, and Mark Burley. So NL Cy Young went to Randy Johnson. We got some first-place votes spread out here. Kevin Brown got a few. Matt Morris got 1. Brandon Duckworth and Chan-Ho Park also rounded out the top 5. Randy put up 6.7 WAR, a FIP minus of 60. He struck out 10.1 guys per 9, which in the year 2001 is absurd. And what did he do in real life 2001? It was his age 37 season, and he put up 11.1 WAR, 9.3 R WAR. He struck out 13.4 guys per 9. So he's actually better in real life, but still managed to bring home the Cy Young. Kevin Brown, Matt Morris interests me. He wasn't that good in real life in 01, was he? Oh, he did have an awesome season. Okay. I guess I didn't realize that Matt Moore's peak was that good. I kind of had him in mind as like a solid mid-rotation starter, and that's probably what he was over the course of his career. But I did not realize, I didn't remember him having this good of a peak with St. Louis in his like mid-20s. Really good rookie year too, but wow. Good for Matt Moore. And then we go to MVP. Pinheiro did not get all the first place votes here. The Mariners did have the top 2 vote getters. Brett Boone, who I believe put up a really good season in real life in 2001 too, right? Yeah, pretty 7.4 WAR and 7.1, pretty close. Tino Martinez, Roberto Alomar, great name. Raul Ibanez, Carlos Delgado. Wow, okay. But Pinheiro takes it home. Barry Bonds got 22 of 31st place votes. Gary Sheffield also put up a really good season with a 201 WRC plus and 9.8 WAR. So those are the basic awards. I was checking out the Orioles. I'm not hired by them, but they offered me a job. I recognized while I was in Do Not Disturb mode. So who's a free agent now? Who isn't? We got Barry Bonds and Gary Sheffield, the top 2 vote getters in the NL MVP. We've got Pedro Martinez, who just put up a cool 10 WAR between Boston and Florida. Roberto Alomar, who was high up in the AL MVP voting, coming off an 8.7 WAR season. We've got Sammy Sosa, who just hit 56 home runs and put up 8.5 WAR. I mean, the list goes on. Larry Walker, Brian Giles, Mike Piazza, Nomar Garciaparra, Moises Alou. I mean, look at this list is crazy. So I think it's going to be really fun to see where all these dudes end up. And yes, I am intrigued by the fact that Baltimore is interested in Barry Bonds, because if peak Barry Bonds, or not peak, but well, no, it kind of was his peak. 37. I don't know, when was Bonds' peak? If he goes into Baltimore, he's going to hit 500 home runs in that ballpark. Let's see. I don't think any team is interested in both of or all of the top 3, or even 2 of them. They probably don't have the money to. But it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a wild offseason. I'm just going to let the AI do it, because I think that's way more fun than me jumping in and controlling a team, just to see what randomness happens here. So I'll sim ahead here a bit, and let's see where these guys end up. The 2001 winter meetings are now complete, December 12th, 2001, and much of this marquee free agent class has signed. There's some fun things in here. Let's get to it. The first free agent to sign was Barry Bonds, going to the world champion Cleveland Guardians on a 2-year, $19.8 million deal. So, I mean, sorry to Giants fans who, in episode 1, might have been looking forward to a Giants sim. There were a couple of people who had commented when I was considering the team that they wanted me to do a West Coast team and do the Giants. This is not a long-term sim, but it's a short-term sim, and in it, I tried to get Barry Bonds a World Series ring. I sold the team out for Larry Walker. We missed the postseason. Walker's left. Bonds is left. Sorry, Giants fans, but yeah, just sorry. No but. So Bonds is off to Cleveland. Mike Piazza, this is fun, goes to the Yankees on a 5-year, $41 million deal. Sosa returns to the Cubs. That's boring. 5 years, $43 million. The Yankees also went out and signed Larry Walker to a 4-year, $36 million deal. Roberto Alomar to the Dodgers, 5-year, $44 million deal. Gary Sheffield, I guess, will be the bat to replace Bonds, bat and glove, to replace Bonds in left field. 5 years, $44.5 million deal. As you might recall, he is coming off a season where he finished second in the MVP voting to Bonds. He put up 9.8 WAR and a 201 WRC+. So this would have been a great ad, like, if they still had Bonds, too. But not sure what it's going to matter because the Giants team is looking a little rough with the Walker trade, Bonds leaving. It's just not looking great there. Let's see what else. Chan-Ho Park down in Colorado on a 6-year deal. Brad Radke to Texas on a 6-year deal. Jim Edmonds to the Dodgers. The Dodgers have added Edmonds and Alomar on a 5-year, $33 million deal. The Mariners, who were excellent last season, go out and add Jason Schmidt on a 4-year deal. Brian Giles goes to Cincinnati, coming off a 5.9 season with the Pirates. And lost my spot. I do wish this saved where you were when you were going down and then went forward and back, but oh well. And Fred McGriff, the crime dog, to the Dodgers on a 2-year deal. Jeff Cirillo to the Cards on a 5-year deal. This is also boring. Pedro Martinez returns to the team that traded him at the deadline, the Red Sox. A 6-year, $58 million deal. I wish he'd gone, to the Baltimore Orioles or some team like that. The Orioles apparently were in on Bonds. They were listed here as interested, but they haven't landed a free agent yet. So, and I don't see them really listed in any team here. Well, the Giants could use David Wells for sure. Yeah, I don't see the Orioles here as interested in anybody. Good to see the Giants are interested in a few people. Maybe they can. Dodgers are still going after everyone. Rondell White, Hideo Nomo. Yeah, Tigers are mentioned for a few teams too. Dan Plesac. So hopefully the Giants can fill some of the holes on their roster. Garcia Parra, Moises Alou, Juan Gonzalez are the top 3. The Yankees are also trying to sign Juan Gonzalez, even though they've already signed Walker and Piazza. Yeah. So that's how the offseason is shaping up. So we'll go ahead up, I think probably to opening day here, and then see how the 2002 season pans out for both Barry Bonds and the San Francisco Giants, which are now 2 separate things. But, so it goes. All right, let's finish the rest of this offseason. We're now at 2002 opening day. The Yankees predicted to win the AL East. Guardians, led by Barry Bonds and others. They have a really good all-around team. Ellis Burks, Mike Sweeney, Scott Rowland, Kenny Lofton batting in the 6th hole. So they're predicted to win 100 games, score 870 runs, which you can see is a lot more than any other team except the Rangers, who are predicted to win 96 games and take the West. Top hitters here, a lot of guys you expect to see. Austin Kearns is an interesting name to have here. Not that he was awful, but as a top 10 hitter, that's a little surprising. Joel Pinheiro, expected to defend his Cy Young MVP Rookie of the Year Triple Crown. And you can see some of these guys have pretty wild teams next to them. The Marlins supposed to come out of what is that alert popping up? We don't need that noise in the background, do we? So the Marlins are supposed to win 87 games or predicted to win 87 games and win the East. The Cardinals in the Central with 92. The Dodgers with 89 wins. They really loaded up. They brought in the crime dog. They brought in Alomar. They brought in other guys. They've got Kevin Brown at the top of the rotation still. Oh, Eric Gagne is a starter. Right. I remember those days. Billy Wagner to anchor their bullpen. So it's a loaded up Dodgers team. And the Giants, unfortunately, are predicted to finish last in this division. Don't have anybody in the top hitters or pitchers. They did go out and fill some holes, much of it through the draft. Coco Crisp was the 25th overall pick, and he's going to be their starting center fielder. Also picked in this draft at 24th overall. I don't know the reasons why they had those picks. I don't know if that was a real life thing or not, because they didn't sign somebody or why that happened. But Omar Infante is now their starting shortstop, it appears. Sheffield, Kent, Aurelia, all back. They signed Brian Jordan, which seems like I think a decent signing. How many years did they sign him for? Okay, 4 years. I mean, he's older. He's not like a star, but 4 years, $11 million. We can deal with that. Alex Gonzalez is going to be the third baseman. Guzman is the catcher. I guess Benito Santiago left. Yeah, I think he was a free agent. So that's an area of weakness. Daryl Kyle and Hideo Nomo signed to come in and be the 1-2 starters. Fernando Rodney drafted to be the closer here. Bobby Jones signed, I assume. Yeah, Bobby Jones signed to be the number 5 starter out of camp. One thing, as always, I'm going to look a bit at the Orioles. One thing that I like is the Orioles signed Bobby Abreu, who is one of my favorite players from this era. Phillies legend Bobby Abreu. So that's fun. They also apparently signed Rondell White. Cool. And Brian Roberts, Chris Richards still there. Ricky Gutierrez is a signing. Yep. Przynski, got him in a trade. Barry Larkin. Oh, they signed Barry Larkin to come in and play first base. That's fun. Jay Gibbons, Tony Bautista. I remember Tony Bautista. He ended up with the O's in real life. And he did here. So in real life, he was traded to the O's in 2001, it looks like. That sounds right. And in this sim, he signed with the O's from Toronto. So that's cool. Rafael Soriano, who was the 6th overall pick. Good luck with the extreme fly ball and Camden Yards, but he's going to be the number 1 starter. So that's how we're shaping up for the 2002 Major League season. What will the Guardians do with Barry Bonds? How will the Giants do? Those are the main 2 things we'll check here, but we're just going to sim this out and see where things end up come September. The end of the 2022 MLB season is upon us. Yankees take the East. Guardians take the Central. A's take the West. Marlins take the NL East. Astros take the Central. Dodgers take the West. See the wild cards here. We've got the Red Sox getting in with 94 wins. The Brewers getting in with 90 wins. Not really down to the wire here. I mean, 4 games, 3 games. Yeah, so doesn't look like the race was too tight down the stretch. Unfortunately, our San Francisco Giants finished better than expected, but 82-79. They went 3-7 down the stretch. Devon White came in and did not play that well. But Gary Sheffield held up his end of the bargain overall, I think. I think it's fair to say a 177 WRC plus 6.4 WAR. The WAR much lower than last year. The WRC plus lower, but still like a guy who's going to get MVP votes, I would think. Jeff Kent with a good season. Rich Aurelia was good. Hideo Nomo, 5.3 WAR will certainly hold up well. The ERA not quite as good as the FIP, but pretty solid. Daryl Kyle, not a good season according to ERA, but according to FIP, a better season. In terms of how they did, August, it looks like maybe they were probably in the hunt in August. I mean, they went 18-11 and they fell out of it with a 12-13 September and that 3-7. Runs scored 4th, so the offense was solid. On the pitching side of things, super rough. 12th in ERA, 12th in runs allowed. Starters ERA was 14th in the NL. Looks like their fielding was really bad, which was not the case when I was there. 14th in the NL in zone rating. That's going to be a problem in a ballpark like San Francisco. So yeah, that's going to be an issue. But let's see. The Orioles. No, let's go. Let me stay on topic here. I'll go to Bonds. Sorry. Stop thinking about myself. Barry Bonds played in left field for the Guardians, who won 93 games and won their division. He put up 8.2 WAR, 174 WRC plus, just 43 home runs. He didn't lead the league in a bunch of categories like he did last year, but quickly we can look at the league leaders. This is league-wide. Home runs, Manny Ramirez hit 62. Todd Helton drove in 147. Your WAR leader was J.D. Drew of the Cardinals with 8.9 WAR. Over in the AL, Alex Rodriguez at 8.2. Pitching side of things, is it Joel Pinheiro still around? No. Oh, Pedro. Pedro with 10.1 WAR. Brandon Duckworth led the league in ERA. Pettit won 23 games. So what did our friend Joel Pinheiro do? There he is. Oh, he still had a great season. 6.4 WAR, 7.6 R WAR. So maybe not the Cy Young this year. I mean, he went 20-6, so I don't know. But he didn't, he's not across the leaderboard for everything like he was last year. But if we look at AL, does he pop up? Oh, he led the AL in ERA. He was third in wins. He was seventh in WAR. So yeah, he'll get some votes on that stuff. And he pitched through 272 innings. That's so wild. All right, so let's see how the postseason plays out, and maybe Barry Bonds can still get a ring. So the New York Yankees have won the 2002 World Series, pleasing only Yankees fans and nobody else. The Yankees in the real-life 2002 postseason lost in the first round to the eventual World Series champions Angels, who did not make the postseason. What did they do again? That's when they were 70 and 92. Awesome. So they beat the Marlins 4-3, so 7-game World Series. Barry Bonds and the Cleveland Guardians lost in the ALCS to the Yankees. See what our guy, Mr. Bonds, did here in the postseason. He played in 8 games. He had 34 plate appearances and put up a 202 WRC plus across that time. Only one home run in 34 plate appearances. He did walk in 26.5% of his plate appearances, which is crazy. He had a pretty good postseason. Why did he only play 8 games though? Oh, he sprained his ankle. He only played in 3 games, 2.5 games really. I see. So Bonds got hurt in the postseason, then they still took the Yankees to 7 games. You would think Barry was going to make the difference there, but he wasn't around. So the Yankees won the World Series. This is a Yankees team that had an excellent pitching staff. First in all these pitching categories, ERAs, starters, bullpen ERA, runs allowed. First in walks, home runs allowed, WAR. The defense was awful. 13th in the AL in zone rating, reflected also in the 11th in the AL in BABIP. But a really good team who just had a down July, but other than that was good. Runs scored their 5th in the AL. The pitching staff was the old Yankees 3-headed monster of Clemens, Pettit, and Orioles legend Mike Mussina. Of course, Jason Davis did supplant Mariano Rivera as the closer, just like we all predicted. Davis is not a guy that I remember. His real-life stats. What are we on? Real pitching. I don't know why this is. He's pitched. I think it might still be on. Oh, the postseason is here, but you can't. Got it. Career pitching stats, real life stats. There we go. I'm sure Cleveland fans remember him since he pitched. I don't know, a whole 401 innings for you guys, but I don't remember this dude. But Rivera is hurt. He tore his elbow ligament in May, so he missed most of the season, but even back on the roster now because we're in the off season, they don't see him as the closer right now. They see Jason Davis as the guy to do that. Rick Reed and Ted Lilly. I remember Ted Lilly. I associate him with the Blue. Oh no, yeah, okay. I remember these Blue Jays days the most. It's not where he necessarily spent the most time or had the best part of his career, but for some reason I remember Ted Lilly as a Blue Jay. But as you can see. Well, it's the second most career games of any team, except for the Cubs. Yeah, he's with the Cubs for a while after the Blue Jays. Okay, so he's their starter. So on the hitting side of things, it's a lot of familiar names. You got Bernie Williams put up 6.1 WAR, but got hurt with a sprained thumb towards the end of the World Series. Jeter, Soriano, Walker put up 2.9 WAR in 49 games. He got hurt. Where's his injury? He tore his back muscle in mid-May and missed 4 months. So that sounds uncomfortable to deal with. Mike Piazza looks like he missed some time too. He's only had 97 starts. Yeah, he missed 6 weeks with a strained PCL. But those are the Yankees, your World Series champion Yankees, who were able to get by Cleveland, who did not have Barry Bonds, which is disappointing for us in our mission here. Not even the AI could get Barry Bonds a ring. Maybe next year was going to be their year, but it wasn't this year. We're going to wrap this video here. We're going to call it a failure. We did not get Barry Bonds a ring. This is the second series, let's get a player a ring. Did it in, I think, Out of the Park 21 with Mike Trout, and we're able to get him a ring in one season, but did not repeat that feat here with Barry Bonds. But thank you guys for watching. Be back with another video soon.